वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धु एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। नामचार्य दास ठाकुर जी की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Good morning, dear devotees. This is Shivani from West Virginia. I welcome you all to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call for this mid-morning session. Please forgive me for stopping your beautiful chanting. Let us move to our next part of the session. Today's topic is going to be on Madhurya Kadambini, session 4, which will be given by Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji. May I know who will have joined this morning?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Shri Prabhupada. This is Preeti Vilasini Devi Dasi from Atlanta. Thank you, Mataji, so much for your warm welcoming. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasini Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving a beautiful session this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji. This is Dasi from Baltimore. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj, and all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kamudati Mataji. So happy to hear you, your voice. Please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you so much for joining, giving a beautiful association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devi Dasi from Cincinnati, and thank you very much, Revati Mataji. Very beautiful reciting.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and always chanting so beautifully. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Anita Ramya from Sharjah.
Hare Krishna Nita Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you so much for joining, giving a beautiful association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Shivani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Virita Gandharvika Devi Dasi from College Station, Texas.
Hare Krishna Vanita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you so much for joining and giving a beautiful association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna Neetu Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you Mataji for joining and giving a beautiful association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. So glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharajas and all the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Kirtida Sundari Dasi.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji. Waiting eagerly to hear from you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji. Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Vindaga Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you so much for joining and giving a beautiful association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, this is Kapaloli from Tamil Nadu, India. All glories to Guru and Guru, all glories to Guru and Guru, all glories to Guru and Guru.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you so much for joining all the way from India every day. Welcome to the call. Hare Krishna. Is there anybody else who would like to introduce themselves? Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Once again, I welcome you all for joining this mid-morning session. I would like to start by sharing a quote by Srila Prabhupada ji. Women are by nature endowed with many artistic tendencies, and from the Vedic age, we find high-grade women and girls who are highly qualified in 6 arts. Srimati Radharani was fully qualified in those arts, and therefore, by her super excellent transcendental qualities, she could charm Krishna, who is the charmer of the three worlds. Letter to Shyama Budesi, Dasi Mataji, February 23rd, 1970. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Good morning, dear devotees. Today we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Mataji will be enlightening us on the topic of Madhurya Kadambini, session 4. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Kirtida Sundari Mataji, thank you for giving your valuable time and wonderful association this morning. Looking forward to hearing from you, Mataji. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru and Garanga ki Jai. I hand over the call to you, Mataji. Please take over. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Shivani Mataji, for your very, very warm welcome, introducing everybody, reading Srila Prabhupada quote. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for giving your valuable association this mid-morning on Friday. So let's move on with our Madhurya Kadambini. So we'll chant the Mangalacharan verses. And we'll chant the Mangalacharan verse of Madhurya Kadambini. And then we'll move forward. Om Ajnanaatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Guruve Gaura Chandrai Radhikai Tadale Krishna Bhaktai Tad Bhaktai Namo Namaha Anande Leelamaya Vigrahaya Hemavadivya Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Mukam Karoti Vachalum Pangum Langayate Giram Yatkripatam Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram. So we'll chant the Mangalacharan verse of Madhurya Kadambini. Ritva Prenava Bhakti Shasya Vitate Sanjeevani Swagama रम्भे कामतपर्तुदाहदमनी विश्वापगोलासिनी दूरन्मे मरुशाखिनोऽपि सरसी भावाय भूयात् प्रभु श्रीचैतन्य कृपानिरङ्कुशमहा Madhurya Kadambini. Hare Krishna. Thank you once again for your very, very kind association. Really grateful to each and every one of you for giving me enthusiasm of studying Sri Madhurya Kadambini in such a great detail. So all glories to all of you. I'm really, really very grateful to you, very indebted to all of you. But again, would like to seek your blessings so that I can speak something relevant to the subject matter, which is so confidential. And it's very hard to understand. But I know with your mercy, I can do some justice to this topic. So please shower your blessings. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu vacha patitanam bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namo Santkoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. All the assembled Vaishnavas ki jai. So up till now, we are still in the first shower of Madhurya Kadambini, which is a cloud bank of shower, monsoon showers. And we have studied in great detail on the Mangalacharan verse describing the Nirankusha Kripa of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then we saw how Srila Rupa Goswami is the Acharya who gives us this Prema Bhakti. And then we saw how this Bhakti comes from. So we refuted so many arguments, but finally our Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur establishes that just like Bhagavan is self-manifesting, so Bhakti is also self-manifesting. But the moment he said this, there were so many arguments that came forward. And one by one, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur delineated all the arguments, establishing the cause of Bhakti is Bhakti itself. So we saw that how this Bhakti is ahituki, is apratihata. It's uninterrupted and it is unmotivated. But then the argument came that this Bhakti is not caused by some pious act that we have done previously. And to this Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur refutes that how can some good fortune be the cause of Bhakti? And we studied in great detail. But then the argument came forward that maybe this good fortune is coming from Bhagavan. And then we saw that anavastha dosh, that is the instability dosh, means some defect which has not been settled, which is not conclusive. Because if we say that this good fortune is coming from Bhagavan mercy, then the question comes that what is the cause of that mercy, right? So finally, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur brought up this point that actually this mercy comes from the Lord's devotees. It's Bhakta who bestows bhakti in the heart of conditioned jivas. But then the question came, okay, if bhaktas, just like Bhagavan cannot do, Bhagavan cannot bestow bhakti, because if Bhagavan bestows bhakti, then it should be distributed to all, because he is impartial. Similarly, the devotees of the Lord are also impartial. Right? The devotees of the Lord are also impartial. Then how can we say that bhakti is coming from bhakta. And then we discussed then how bhakta have this power of discrimination. A madhyamadikari has this power where he has this prema, maitri, kripa, upeksha, where he has love for the Supreme Lord. He has friendship with the equals. He bestows kripa on the innocent, and he stays away. He maintains distance from those who are envious. So there we ended that bhakti is actually not dependent on any other cause for its appearance. It comes directly from bhakta. But those who present the various arguments are still not satisfied with this. And they come up with another argument. Okay, and what is that another argument? That we will see in today's slide. So we are in verse 4, where it says that Bhagavan's mercy, potency, is actually entrusted to the devotees. So now in this thing, we see that someone can say, okay, we have established this point that this bhakti is coming from bhakta. This bhakti is rooted in the heart of bhakta, and that bhakti is entrusted by the bhakta onto the jivas, the conditioned jivas. And that's how the bhakti sprouts in the heart of the conditioned jivas. Now someone can argue, another argument was put forward that, okay, we can say that bhakti is coming from bhakta, but then the question arises between Bhagavan versus Jiva. Someone may say that since the bhaktas are subordinate to the will of Bhagavan, how can their mercy awaken independently without Bhagavan's will or inspiration? Isn't it a valid question? Anita Mataji is asking, bhakta is also conditioned jiva. Bhakta in an initial state may be a conditioned jiva. But when I'm saying that bhakta is bestowing his bhakti in the heart of conditioned jiva, here we are talking about pure devotees, pure bhakta, who have crossed this modes of material nature and have established themselves in the transcendental mode. They are the one who can bestow this mercy onto conditioned jivas. So this is the valid point that we say that someone may say that the bhaktas are subordinate to the will of Bhagavan. Yes, even the pure devotees are subordinate to the will of Bhagavan. So how can their mercy awaken independently without Bhagavan's will or inspiration? That means the inspiration that is coming in the heart of pure devotees to bestow mercy on some conditioned jiva is actually coming from Bhagavan. So Bhagavan becomes the prime cause of that mercy that has to be bestowed from the heart of a pure bhakta to the neophyte bhakta. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, because if this is true, then the self-manifesting nature of bhakti is condemned. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he explains, Bhagavan's quality of what it is bhakta vashyata, is submission to his devotees. Yes, it's very true that initially bhaktas are under the subordination of Bhagavan. They are not independent. They work as per the inspiration coming from Bhagavan. But Bhagavan, being bhakta vashyata, coming subordinate to his bhaktas, given that mercy to those bhaktas so that they don't have to wait for Bhagavan's inspiration to come. Bhakta can independently bestow mercy upon the ordinary people. In this regard, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes in detail, I cannot go in that detail, but we have to understand, in yesterday during Srimad Bhagavatam session also, in the evening, where we are reading the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it's been described that Bhagavan is entrusted with so many potencies. So we know the basic is Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, and Tatastha Shakti. But in Antaranga Shakti also, there are 3 divisions we saw in detail: Samvit, Sandhini, and Aladini Shakti. And in these also, there are different categories. So Bhagavan is infested with many potencies, but 9 are the main, which comprises his internal potency. And what are those? They are Vimala, Utkarshini, Jnana, Kriya, Yoga, Prahavi, Satya, Ishana, and Anurag. This Srimad Bhagavatam explains. You can refer. It is 11th canto, chapter number 27, verses either 25 or 26. I don't remember because yesterday we were reading. So there are 9 kinds of potencies, 9 kinds of Shaktis. Vimala Shakti. Vimala Shakti means, I cannot go detail in all these kinds because we will be reading in Chaitanya Bhagavat also, where Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur has really explained in detail about these 9 Shaktis. But just in brief, we'll come forward to understand what the basic understanding is. Vimala, Vimala Shakti. Mala means contamination, or Mala means ignorance or avidya, and someone who is beyond that contamination, who is beyond that avidya, who is beyond that ignorance is Vimala. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is also known as Vimala. And his Shakti is one of these 9 Shaktis is Vimala Shakti. That means not a tinge of avidya or ignorance can touch the Lord. Then the Lord has Utkarshini. Utkarshini means he is great. Utkarsh means to be very great. So he is Utkarsh. He is great in every of his opulence. Whether it may be his strength, whether it may be his beauty, whether it may be his fame, whether it may be his knowledge, whether it may be his wealth, or whether it may be his renunciation. The Supreme, nobody can counter with any of these opulences with the Lord. He is great. So that is his Utkarshini Shakti. Then comes his Jnana Shakti. Jnana, we know it's knowledge. He is the epitome of knowledge. Right? Then is Kriya Shakti. Kriya Shakti means to do some work. Kala. Like we say, Ete Chamsa Kala Pumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Kala means the art. Like today, Shivani Mataji was also reading the quote of Srila Prabhupada, where it's mentioned the various arts that Srimati Radharani possesses. So that Kriya Shakti, his Kala. Then comes his Pravahi Shakti. Pravahi Shakti means the variegatedness that he can give to this world. The ability to give bliss and to give variegatedness. That comes from his Pravahi Shakti. Yoga Shakti, sometimes yoga is referred to some asanas, some pranayams. But here yoga means solution, upaya, right? Like, which is actually through his inconceivable actions, like Krishna lifting up his Govardhan. Krishna lifting up Govardhan hill is not something can be conceived by ordinary people. Krishna devouring or drinking that forest fire cannot be conceived by ordinary people. So all these actions are inconceivable. And these come from his Yoga Shakti. Then comes his Satya Shakti. That Krishna is Satyam, Satyam, Punah Satyam. He is truth. Then comes his Ishana Shakti. Ishana Shakti means that he is the only Ishvara. He is the only proprietor. He is the only supreme controller. Right? So this Shakti is his Ishana Shakti. But yes, these Shaktis are different vibhutis, different opulence of the Supreme Lord in one sense. But the ultimate of all the Shaktis is his Anugraha Shakti. That is his Kripa Shakti. Even in Damodar Leela, we see that when Mother Yashoda was trying to bind Krishna, she was not able to. Every time it was 2 fingers short. The rope was getting 2 fingers short. Yes, there are reasons why 2 fingers short, but our acharyas explain that why she was not able to bind. She was not able to bind because the moment she was trying to bind Krishna, all his vibhutis, all his shaktis, they came in between Krishna and Mother Yashoda. So they protected. They don't want their master to be bound by anyone. So they were protecting Mother Yashoda. Basically, they were protecting Krishna to be bound by Mother Yashoda. Jiva Goswami explains this. But then finally, when Mother was perspiring, when she got tired, but still her endeavor was 100%. There was no loss in her endeavor. She was bringing rope after rope after rope. Seeing the condition of Mother Yashoda, Krishna's ultimate Shakti, that is Kripa Shakti, that is Anugraha Shakti, came forward. And this Shakti actually supersedes all other Shaktis that Krishna has. So this is this Anugraha Shakti, this Kripa Shakti that has been bestowed by the Supreme Lord unto his pure devotees. And it doesn't have any cause. It's a mercy. It's not bhakti. It's Kripa Shakti. Through this Kripa Shakti, the pure devotees, they perform bhakti and they develop bhakti. And then from their heart, that bhakti gets transformed into the heart of other devotees. So actually what it is Krishna's not bhakti, but it's Krishna's Kripa Shakti that is there in the heart of the devotees that make them independent to the will of Bhagavan, that now they don't have to depend on Bhagavan to bestow bhakti on the other conditioned jivas. So the particular significance of Mahat Kripa, Satam Kripa, starts. Okay, so for even the Shraddha, we are talking about the phases from Shraddha to Prema. So before Shraddha, when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, it comes that it has to be Satam Kripa. It has to be Mahat Kripa. The mercy of devotees should come. In Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami says that this mercy of his devotees is that if it were not independent, then it would have been impossible for anyone in this world to obtain this mercy of Bhagavan. So it is because of this Mahat Kripa that is being mercy that is being bestowed by the Lord to his devotees by his Kripa Shakti. And this mercy of his devotees is what is bhakti. Okay. Now the question comes, why cannot one receive mercy directly from Bhagavan to obtain bhakti? Why it has to come only via bhaktas? Why it cannot come directly from Bhagavan? To this also, Jiva Goswami explains this Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. It is from Purusha Shukta, but it is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. that there is, just as there is no possibility, even the slightest darkness cannot remain when the sun is there in the sky. Okay. Similarly, there is not even a touch of unhappiness that can touch Bhagavan. Bhagavan cannot understand this unhappiness. Shruti says that he is far away from such kind of darkness. So when Bhagavan cannot be touched by any kind of happiness that is felt by the jivas, because he is always in Ananda. Similarly, if he is not able to understand the misery of others, then how can he awaken that mercy? Are you getting my point? Therefore, the jivas, the pure devotees, they can understand the sufferings of other jivas. Therefore, when they understand, they bestow this mercy onto the other jivas. Like we see the example again in Damodar Leela. Till now, Krishna had seen those two Yamala Arjuna trees, but he never thought of liberating them. The moment Krishna became bound up, then he realized what it is to be bound up, how it feels when somebody ties you up. Then Krishna understood that these Yamala Arjuna trees have been cursed by Narada Muni, and they are also bound up in these tree bodies. So now is the time that I have to free them. So one has to step into others' shoes to understand their misery. But Bhagavan, because of his Bhagavata, cannot understand. And therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to understand the pangs of miseries of these conditioned jivas, to understand the love of Srimati Radharani, to understand the essence of devotional service, which he cannot understood. He was not able to understand when he was in Bhagavan Bhav. He came as a Bhakta Bhav. Because only a Bhakta can understand. And that is why it is bestowed only by the pure devotees, not by Bhagavan itself. Okay, somebody is asking, but Kripa Shakti awakens in a Madhyam Adhikari. Yes, Kripa Shakti awakens in a Madhya Adhikari. That is what I'm saying. That Madhyam Adhikari Bhakta has that Kripa Shakti because he knows, but that mercy is coming from Bhagavan only. Now someone can say that if that mercy is coming from Bhagavan, that means Bhagavan is the inspiration. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is refuting this point. Kripa is coming from devotees and devotees are subordinate to Bhagavan. Very true. All these statements are true. But this bestowing of Kripa on other is not dependent on Bhagavan. Is not dependent upon Bhagavan's will. It is the total independent free will nature of a pure bhakta that without any discrimination, he bestows bhakti on the other jivas. Okay. Now, this is the things that why it cannot directly come from Bhagavan. It has to be obtained from the pure devotees. In Tulsidas Ramayana, also, Tulsidas ji says, Sant hriday navneet samana, kaha kabhu pari kaho na jana, nij pratap dravahi navneeta, par dukh dravahi sant supunita. Someone can say that the heart of a devotee is like a navneet, is like a butter that melts. But Tulsidas Goswami refutes this point. He says the heart of a devotee cannot be a butter because the butter, it melts when it is put in a provoking situation. When you put butter and fire, only then the butter melts. Right? But he says, Santra Hidaya Navanita Samana. Yes, devotees all around say that the heart of a saint, a heart of a pure devotee is like a butter. It melts seeing the misery of others, just like the butter melts after getting exposed to a high temperature. But kaha kabahi pari kahi na jana. He says, but I don't agree to it. Why? Nij pratap davaneet dravahi navanita. When this navanit is exposed to a high temperature, only then it melts. But the heart of a pure devotee is that it doesn't melt when the heart himself is exposed to a high temperature. Rather, the heart of a devotee melts just by seeing the misery of others. That is the heart of a devotee. That heart doesn't belong to Krishna. Okay, I'm getting some personal message, which I'll see later. So, therefore, he says, Sant Hriday Navneet Samana Kahaka Bahi Pari Kahi na jane Nij Pratap Dravahi Navneeta Par Dukh Dravahi Sant Supunita. The heart of a devotee melts by seeing the miseries of others. And when they see the miseries of others, naturally, what happens is that they bestow bhakti. They sow bhakti. They sow the seed of bhakti in the heart of other living entities. Now one may counter. There is another argument that comes forward. One may counter this notion also by seeing that Antaryami Bhagavan, who governs from within as super soul, inspires the heart of all the living entities and grants the power of activity to their internal and external senses. Yes, very true. This notion is also very true. Nobody can counteract, but our Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur counteracts this too. He says, yes, you are right, that Antaryami Bhagavan is there, who is situated in the heart of Paramatma, in the heart of every living entity as Paramatma. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshit Arjuna Tishtati Brahman Sarva Bhutani Yanta Rudhani Mayaya. Just like a machine is made up of material energy. But who is sitting? The Lord. The Supreme Lord is situated in the heart of every living entity and is directing the wanderings of all those living entities who are seated in a machine as Yanta. It says Yantra. Yantra means like a machine. Arudhani Mayaya, which is made up of material energy. Very true. But to this, Jiva Goswami says that the internal and external senses of the devotee are according to the Lord, because the Lord is sitting in the heart of every living entity. So that living entity is not fully independent. But through the Kripa Shakti, what happens when the Kripa Shakti is being bestowed? This Kripa Shakti is so independent that it doesn't bring the soul, the pure devotees, to be under the Supreme Lord, but it becomes vice versa, where Supreme Lord becomes Bhakta Vashyata. He becomes subordinate to this Jiva, to the pure devotees. So this is also because of Kripa Shakti that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that yes, the Supreme Lord is situated as Paramatma, and all the directions, all the wanderings of the Jiva is controlled by the Supreme Lord. He is giving the sanction. He is giving sanction, right? Bhagavad Gita says he is an overseer and he sanctions. But this Kripa Shakti is such a Shakti that when it is bestowed by Krishna, by the Supreme Lord, by Bhagavan to his devotees, it makes Bhagavan to be subservient of the pure devotees or to those jivas. So when Bhagavans become subservient, naturally the will of the jiva supersedes Bhagavan's inspiration. So therefore, it is because of this Kripa Shakti that the Jivas, they overpower the will of the Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord becomes subservient. Therefore, it is said that the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan, is ready to give any kind of vibhuti, any kind of opulence you need. He gives it very easily. But when it comes to his mercy, he is little conjuice. He becomes little miser. Because the moment he gives that to his devotees, he himself becomes slave to that devotee. He becomes subservient to his devotees. So he is very particular in bestowing his Kripa Shakti. He bestows it in a very proper manner, like not like freely. He doesn't give it freely, because the moment he gives freely, he himself becomes subservient to that devotee. And even Bhagavan doesn't want to become a servant of his devotee. He doesn't want to become a slave. But when the same Bhagavan comes as Bhakta, he distributes it freely. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributes it freely without even recognizing the qualification, without even recognizing the eligibility of the Jiva to receive that mercy. He gives it freely to each and every one. Right? So this is what it's been explained. In Bhagavad Gita, also there is a verse where it says, Bhagavan himself, he says, Tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapyasi shashvatam. That after attaining this mercy, tat prasadat, right? After attaining that mercy, what he achieves? Param shantim. He achieves the supreme peace. And what else? Sthanam. He achieves that abode which is shashvatam, which doesn't get destroyed. This world is ashashvatam, but spiritual world is shashvatam. It doesn't get destroyed. It is eternal. So here, when Bhagavan himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Tad prasadat, that prasada means the favor of Bhagavan in the form of his Kripa Shakti. So Kripa Shakti is bestowed in the heart of a devotee, and then this devotee bestows it freely to other devotees in the form of bhakti. That's why even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Kaunteya pratijani name bhakta pranishyati. Oh Arjuna, you declared, Krishna himself also would have declared that my devotees will never perish. I will take care of them. But no, he says, you declare this because my promises can fail. But oh Arjuna, the promise made by my pure devotees cannot fail because I become subservient to their orders. Their wish becomes my command. Therefore, he's telling, oh Arjuna, you declare that my devotees will never perish. So this is what it is being explained. So let's read the translation. Again, this is all what we have already understood in great detail. An objection may be raised that it is not possible for the mercy of the devotees to exist first before the mercy of Bhagavan, because the actions of the devotees are inspired by Bhagavan. But this cannot be, because Sri Bhagavan, who accepts the mood of submission to his devotees, his bhakta vashyata, personally offers his mercy potency to them, so that they can elevate those who are desirous of performing Hari Bhajan. Thus, he has established the Bhakta's excellence in this regard. Another thing, Bhagavan is the indwelling super soul. He is Paramatma. He has governance over the living entities. He maintains them, controls of only those living entities who through their external senses are reaping the fruits because of their prarabdha of lifetimes of sinful and pious activities. But in this regard, in regard to this, his own devotees, however, Bhagavan's personal direct grace is seen. that even though the jiva may be suffering from one's prarabdha, but still the pure devotees of the Lord, who have made Lord subservient because of their power of bhakti, supersedes all other rules and regulations and bestow bhakti in the heart of other living entities. In this context, Srimad Bhagavad Gita states, Tat prasadat param shantim sthanam. By the gracious blessing of that supreme controller, Ishvara, you will achieve ultimate peace and the eternal abode. Here the word prasada must certainly understood as grace in the form of him bestowing his personal mercy potency, which has been previously stated. So imagine if we say that we are being given by the seed of devotion by our spiritual master, who is a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. He has bestowed that seed of devotion. Now, what qualification we had, what eligibility we had, what karmic, good, pious karma or reactions we had, because of which the spiritual master has bestowed that seed of devotion in our heart. If we introspect our own life, we had nothing. We have nothing. Yogyata bicharo kichu nahi pao, tomhara karuna sar. If you keep on looking for eligibility, you will not find any, because I don't have. Because I'm made up of your mercy. Tomhara karuna sar. I'm made up of the essence of your mercy. Therefore, O Gurudev, please bestow this mercy. Bestow the seed of devotion in my heart. This is how our acharyas pray. So this also applies here, that this seed of devotion is sown in the heart of us by a pure devotee. That pure devotee who has made Lord subservient to his will, where the Lord's will is no more valid. His will supersedes the will of the Supreme Lord. And therefore, he has the power to bestow that devotion in the heart of conditioned jivas like us. Let's move to our next section. It says that Nishkam Karma and so forth are the gateway of bhakti. Now, this also the author is trying to clarify. Now, another argument has been put forward, that when we offer the fruits of our activities to the Lord, it becomes the door to bhakti. That becomes the door to bhakti. That is what is Nishkam Karma. Nishkam Karma means you are doing an activity, but you are not attached to the fruit of your activities. You are not attached to the fruit of the reactions of those activities. Nishkam Karma or Karma Arpana. अपने सब कर्म को अर्पण करना, right? Nishkam Karma, to bestow all the fruits of our activities to the Lord. Our Shastras, various places, they say this, that this is actually the door to bhakti. Now, in this regard, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that it may be true. It is true to an extent. How it is true? Just like the Supreme Lord, when he appears in this world, he comes by his own independent, supreme, sweet will. True? Yes. But still the Shastras say that actually the Supreme Lord comes to annihilate the miscreants, to establish dharma, to protect his devotees, and to remove the burden of earth. Shastras say this. Even Srimad Bhagavatam says this. So, yes, externally it looks like that the Supreme Lord, when he comes, he establishes all these things. He establishes dharma, he protects his devotees, He annihilates the miscreants, and while annihilating the miscreants, he removed the burden of the earth. Externally, in the gross sense, this is true. But we devotees know that this is not true. Because to annihilate the miscreants, the Lord personally doesn't have to come. He can do it from a spiritual world also. To protect his devotees, does he really have to come? To remove the burden of the earth, does he really have to come? No, he doesn't have to come. But apparently our scripture says, Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkitam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavani yuge yuge. The Lord comes millennium after millennium to perform these activities. This is in the gross sense, yes. But ultimately, the Lord comes by his own supreme sweet will. So therefore, when our acharyas or when our shastras mention this point, that when we give away all the fruits of our activities to the Supreme Lord, it's the door to bhakti. In gross sense, it is yes. It becomes the door to bhakti. Door to bhakti, it is the door to bhakti, but that doesn't mean that it is bhakti itself. Okay? So this is how we have to understand. To elaborate this point, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur will quote 2 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam to elaborate this same point, and that we will see. So right now we'll read the translation, or we'll leave the translation because translation is the combined of those 2 verses. So that is giving in charity. This is what is Nishkam Karma Yoga. When you do charity, when you execute vows. So that is also the door of bhakti. But no, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, see, this is the verse from 11th canto, 12th chapter, which is again the part of Uddhava Gita. It says, Yamna yogena sankhena dana vrata tapodhari vyakhya swadhyaya sannyasai prapnu yad yatnavanapi. That bhakti, this bhakti is not attained by the greatest efforts of yoga, mysticism, or sankhya, that is analysis of elements, through dana, charity, through vrata, through tapa, through philosophical speculation, through saintly vows, through austerity. No, it cannot be, right? Or through rituals, or through Shastra Vyakhya, study of the Vedas, or even sannyasa, accepting the renounced order of life. Nothing is dependent on bhakti. This bhakti is not dependent on all these things. But in other place, same Srimad Bhagavatam quotes another scripture, another verse. Dana vrata tapo homa japa swadhyaya samyami shreyo bhir vividhaschanye Krishna bhaktir hi sadhyate. That through charity, through dana, through vrata, through saintly vows, through tapa, through austerity, through homa, authorized rituals, through japa, chanting mantras or chanting Gayatri, swadhyaya, study of the Vedas, samyamaha, to be self-controlled, shrobhir vividhaschanya, and other activities which is performed to generate good fortune. Krishna Bhakti hi sadhyate. Krishna Bhakti is achieved. Now, which one of this is true? In the above Uddhav Gita, Krishna is saying that through yoga, through sankhya, through dana, through austerity, through vrata, you cannot achieve bhakti. Even by accepting the sannyas order or the renounced order of life, you cannot accept bhakti. Krishna is saying this to Uddhav in Uddhav Gita. But again, in this verse also it is saying that by performing charity, saintly vows, austerity, authorized rituals, through all these, Krishna Bhakti is achieved. Now, what is true? The truth is that there are two types of bhaktis. One is Jnananga Bhuta Satvika Bhakti, and another is Premanguna Bhakta Nirguna Bhakti. What in the previous verse it is being talking about, this verse, that bhakti is not attained by all these processes, refers to Shuddha Bhakti, Premanga Bhakti. Right? But the verse that is talking about this is actually Jnananga Satvika Bhakti, bhakti that is achieved in the mode of goodness. This is the difference. Okay? So bhakti are also of two types. But what we are talking about in Madhurya Kadambini is Anya Bhilashita Shunyam. Jnana Karmadhyanavritam Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktir Uttama. We are talking about Uttama Bhakti. We are talking about Shuddha Bhakti. We are not talking about Mishrat Bhakti. But when somebody does this jnana, this charity, this tapa, this vrata, and it is not done for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, then it will invoke Jnana Anga Bhakti, not Premanga Bhakti. It will give rise to Jnananga Bhukta Satvika Bhakti, the bhakti that is performed in the mood of sattva, in the mood of good, in the mode of goodness. Right? So therefore, in this Kapila Samvad with Devahuti, he says that those in the mode of goodness, those who are Sattvika Bhaktas, they also worship the Supreme Lord. But for what? They have a motive to it. It is not apratihata. It is not unmotivated. It is motivated bhakti to dissipate their sins. And then they dedicate to me the fruits of their karma. They perform this nishkam karma, but they have an ulterior motive to it. And what is that ulterior motive? That they desire moksha. They desire liberation. They don't desire bhakti. But what here we are talking about is Premanga Bhuta Nirguna Bhakti, which cannot be achieved with any kind of nishkam karma, with any kind of tapa, with any kind of austerity, with any kind of charity, with any kind of swadhyay, with even accepting sannyas. It cannot be achieved because this is what is pure bhakti or Shuddha Bhakti. See, a little amount of bhakti is required even for the Jnana Yogis. Our Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says this. Kevala Jnana Mukti Dite Nare Bhakti Vine. Krishna Mukhe Se Mukti Haya Vina Jnane. Means that only by speculative knowledge. See, what these Brahmavadis or what these people do who are too much Jnani yogis, who are too much into Jnana, their aspiration is to merge into the Supreme Lord, to merge into that Brahman effulgence, to reach the platform of Brahman. Okay, now this Brahman is also in the spiritual realm. Because what is this Brahman? This Brahman is actually coming from the effulgence of the Supreme Lord. So it's not in some ordinary position to be attained. This is also the part of the spiritual world. Because this is coming directly from the Supreme Lord. To understand the Brahman aspect of the Supreme Absolute Truth is not wrong. It may be incomplete, but it is not wrong because this Brahman is actually the part of the Supreme Absolute Truth. So only through one's speculative knowledge, these jnanis, they cannot reach Brahman. They think, aruya krichena, they think through their penances, through their austerity, they think that they have reached that Brahman platform and therefore they fall down. Why? Because they have not worshipped the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Bhagavatam establishes this point. right? Because they have not worshipped the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, they think that they have been liberated and they attain Brahma Jyoti, but actually they have not. Because if they would have attained Brahma Jyoti, there is no fall down. Even from Brahma Jyoti, there is no fall down. So therefore, a tinge of bhakti is required, even in those who are into the speculative knowledge. Keval jnana mukti dite nare bhakti vine. Without bhakti, if somebody is practicing only jnana, it will not give mukti. It will not give liberation. That liberation also requires the tinge of bhakti. Okay? So therefore, this dana, this tapa, all these, when it is performed with some ulterior motive, it gives to Jnananga Bhuta Sattvika Bhakti, but not pure Bhakti. Okay? This is what our Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur establishes. So in answer to this, it is said that where charity, vows, and so on are described as the cause of attaining bhakti, it is to be understood that it refers only to the bhakti which is in the mode of goodness. It is not referred to devotion which is beyond the material modes, that is attribute of prema. So here he concludes this point. Now comes the last point. Giving in charity, executing vows, and so forth, for the sake of Bhagavan, results in attaining prema bhakti. So the same verse we see what's that? It's gone. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dana, Vrata, Tapo, Homa, Japa, Swadhyaya, Samyami, Shreyo, Bhir, Vividhaschanya, Krishna, Bhakti, Hi, Sadhyate. It has been mentioned that they all, Krishna Bhakti is achieved. But that Bhakti, which is in the mode of goodness. But here it says Krishna Bhakti. So our Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, in his commentary, he mentions, in his Sararth Darshani commentary, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur refers why it is being said that Dana, Vrata, Tapa, Homa, Japa, Swadhyaya, it all generates Krishna Bhakti. Why it is said. Then this answer comes. That Dana refers to not the charity which doesn't keep Krishna in the center, but Dana refers to the charity to Vishnu and to the Vaishnavas for the purpose of serving them. So this becomes Bhakti. Vrata, when it refers to Vaishnava vows like following Ekadashi, it becomes Bhakti. Tapa, when it refers to renunciation of enjoyment for the sake of Lord Shri Krishna, not to gain some kind of liberation, but to renounce the enjoyment for the sake of Lord Krishna's pleasure. Rishikena, Rishikesha. Okay, engaging and involving all your senses to please the master of the senses is Bhakti Uttama. Then Homa refers to Vaishnava Homa, or else offering the Lord's food remnants, and so on to the Vaishnavas. It becomes Bhakti. Japa, it refers to uttering some Vishnu mantra or Maha mantra or chanting our Gayatri. It becomes Bhakti. Swadhyaya, not to make our brain intelligent, but reading so that our heart can be purified. Refers to reading of Shruti, such as Gopal Tapani Upanishad. It's just an example that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives. So when all this is performed for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, then yes, it becomes bhakti. Then yes, it is bhakti. Otherwise, it is not bhakti. Right? Giving in charity, executing vows, and so forth for the sake of Bhagwan results in attaining prema bhakti. And how that is established? That Vishwanath Chakravarti describes what is Shuddha Bhakti. Then this is the translation. Alternatively, some explain dana to mean charity aimed at service to Sri Vishnu and the Vaishnavas. Vrata to mean vows such as Ekadashi. Tapasya to mean the renunciation of sense gratification with the intention of obtaining Bhagavan. And that has been described as limbs of sadhana bhakti. It has been explained that the goal of all these limbs is bhakti is bhakti. Bhaktya sanjayate, it is sanjayate bhaktya. Prema bhakti is produced by sadhana bhakti. This aphorism, which establishes the causeless nature of bhakti, perfectly reconciles all the statements of scripture that bhakti is the cause of bhakti. There is no other cause, no other cause, no other cause. Only the cause of bhakti is bhakti, which comes from a pure bhakta. Okay, so bhaktya sanjayate bhaktya. So this is what he is explaining. Now comes that why the author has spent so much time, so many verses in refuting the arguments that has come forward that there is some cause to bhakti. But our author is establishing, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is establishing the self-manifesting quality of bhakti by various objections that is being come up, but establishing through shastras, through evidence. He is giving all the shastric evidence to bring this point that there is no cause to bhakti. And this logic, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur himself states that this logic is known as sthuna nikhana nyaya. Sthuna nikhana nyaya. Sthuna means a post or a pillar, right? And nikhana means when you dig. So when you dig a post or a pillar onto the earth, how you make it 100% right or 100% convincing that this pillar is now not going to move. You have digged the earth and you have buried, you have dig it, means you have done that nikhana part. And now sthuna means a post or a column or a pillar. So when you are establishing that post, digging the earth and fixing that post on earth, the only way to check that the post or the pillar is fixed is to shake it repeatedly, right? The more you shake it, the more you will realize that, okay, this is the point where the pillar is not shaking now. So that means it has become fixed. Similarly, all these logic, all these arguments that is coming forward is just like shaking this pillar that there is some cause of bhakti. The more you shake, the more the arguments come in. And the more the person realizes that the pillar is not firm. The earth has to be digged more so that the pillar can go deep-rooted and can be fixed. So our Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is therefore refuting all these statements, all these arguments that is coming through shastric evidence. And he's making fix this pillar, this post, that there is no cause of bhakti. Bhakti comes only from bhakti. He establishes bhakti is self-illuminating, it is self-manifesting. There is no cause whatsoever of bhakti. This is known as Purna Nikhana Nyaya, through which he establishes that bhakti is the cause of bhakti. So we'll stop here. We have done only the 4 verses. We will come up with the 5th verse, but it is a very lengthy verse, and we'll try to cover it in the next week. Yeah, now it comes about the previous class question. That question was asked that what is there, who bestow that bhakti in that pure bhakta? Now that is the anavastha dosh. Okay, that is the anavastha dosh. You can keep on fighting whether the seed came first or the tree came first, whether the egg came first or the chicken came first. This is the anavastha dosha. You keep on fighting, you will not reach to the conclusion. What bring this jiva into this material world? When we were amukh of Krishna, vimukh of Krishna, what was the time when we did something wrong and we have been pushed in this material world? What was the time when we, being Tatastha Shakti, chose to be in the material world and forgot the Supreme Lord? You keep on arguing into this and you will not reach to a conclusive statement. So who is that pure bhakta on whose heart that Kripa Shakti was bestowed and from whom it is being carried forward from bhakta to bhakta to bhakta? You can keep on arguing to it, but there is no conclusive statement to it. That is known as anavastha dosha. Point is that Krishna bestow his mercy aspect, his Kripa Shakti to his pure devotees, and once he bestow that bhakti, that Kripa Shakti, not bhakti, his Kripa Shakti onto his devotees, he becomes subservient to their will. And the power of the bhakta supersedes the will of the Supreme Lord. And then this bhakta is independent to bestow bhakti in the heart of as many jivas as they want. Right? So this is the answer. Okay. Yes, Preeti Vilasni Mataji. Please go ahead. Then I'll go ahead with the chat questions.
Okay, I'm repeating a question that was asked on behalf of someone else. And I was asked to ask this in the class, so I'm just repeating. So the question, I felt was very good. The question is, one second. A Madhyamadikari is the one who's bestowing this, right, to the heart of the devotees. Now, who's a Madhyamadikari? A Madhyamadikari is not necessarily like an Uttamadikari. He's not a very pure devotee, but he is just going to, he's the one who sees, who distinguishes. He's not able to see Samadrashti, whatever. So he has a thing. The only thing is he is strong in Shastras. He's able to have his faith that is pretty strong. So when this person is giving the bhakti, then if he's giving that bhakti, then how much can he give? He can only give at his level, right?
Of course.
Which means that the bhakti that we receive is surely not pure. It is just, we have to work on it to make it pure and advance to that level. So only 1
minute. Bhakti is always pure. Or that bhakti can be in a seed form or in a plant form or in a different form. When bhakti is bestowed, even what to talk about a Madhyamadikari, even a Kanishta can bestow mercy. Even Kanishta can sow this seed of bhakti in the heart of jivas. Forget about Madhyamadikari.
No, but then why do we say
Madhyamadikari? Yeah, go ahead.
And why are we so specific that it is a Madhyamadikari?
It's just that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives, because the question came that just like the Supreme Lord, he is impartial, so the devotees are also impartial. Then this has been talked about Uttamadikari because they are impartial. They think that I am Adhama, rest everybody is Uttama. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in refuting this point, brings the platform of Madhyamadikari, that even the Madhyamadikari can bestow bhakti because he is Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha. He has these qualities. Now, what to talk about the Madhyamadikari? Even a Kanishtadikari can give bhakti. Even bhakti like you and me can give, who don't, even I don't consider myself to be on the platform of Kanishtadikari. But we can also help others and sow some seed of bhakti in the heart of others. It depends. Like, if I know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I don't know anything about Vaidhi Bhakti or Sadhana Bhakti or Raganuga Bhakti or whatsoever, but I know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and whatever desires we have, we should approach to Krishna. Okay, this is the statement. If I try preaching to others, one day that person will might realize that yes, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So let me just do or work only for Krishna. So how much I know, I can give it to others.
So bhakti is always pure. It is
Bhakti
only
is
the
always-
intensity that you receive, and
Yes.
secondly, depending on our own circumstances, like how we are nourishing it, right? Like
Yeah,
based
how
on-
seriously we are nourishing, it depends whether that bhakti will still remain as a creeper, will be devoured by the bad association, or will be fenced properly in the association of like-minded devotees, and it will become a tree and yield fruits and flowers. It all depends upon us now. Our sincerity, our effort.
I see. Interesting. So, but I mean, like, it's nice. One thing that I want to clarify again is that when you talk about Nirguna Bhakti, so this Madhyamadikari, he's giving Nirguna Bhakti?
Yes, he is given Nirguna Bhakti because that Madhyamadikari is keeping Krishna in the center.
No, but he might not really have Nirguna Bhakti, right?
He might not have that Shuddh Bhakti, but whatever he is giving is actually the part of Shuddh Bhakti. He also want to become a Shuddh Bhakta in future. So Kanishta Adhikari, like suppose if I go for book distribution, right? I am below Kanishta, I am nothing, right? But I am going for book distribution and I am handing over Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. So on behalf of Prabhupada, I am trying to bestow that bhakti in that ordinary jiva. That's what is Mahat Kripa. That is what is Satam Kripa. It comes from devotees only. Now it's up to that jiva, whether the jiva takes Bhagavad Gita or doesn't take. If he takes, whether he reads it or he doesn't read it. If he reads it, does he get enthusiasm to attend programs in the temple or not? That is up to him. But that Satam Kripa has already been given from a book distributor who is giving that book on behalf of Srila Prabhupada.
Makes more sense. Yes. Very nice. One more thing. I forgot. As you were talking, I kept remembering and now I forgot. Okay, one more thing. Let me just ask one more thing. So basically, Kripa Shakti is being bestowed in the heart of a great devotee, and that devotee is the cause for giving this bhakti to everybody. And then the he is a Madhyamadikari, for example, and he is giving bhakti to everybody. And this goes on like a chain. So that's how this entire thing happens. Then why do we say mercy of Krishna? This is the mercy of Krishna. There's no mercy of Krishna there. There's only mercy of devotee. All are Krishna conscious.
Yes, it's only the mercy of devotees. That's why
Krishna's mercy.
This statement was refuted. That why Krishna directly not give? Why he has to make a sadhaka or a devotee to be the medium to bestow bhakti? Because Krishna doesn't have to do it. Krishna doesn't have bhakti to give bhakti.
I know. So we are not getting Krishna's mercy. So Kripa is only from
not Krishna's mercy. Therefore, it is said that we have to only bow down to sadhus.
Okay.
Mataji, sorry for interrupting, Mataji. This thing, bhakti is that seed should be given by Krishna only, Mataji. That this thing you are telling to that this thing intention, it should inspiration should be come from Krishna only, no. Without Krishna's sanction, it cannot be. I'm asking my doubtful Mataji.
That's the doubt we clarified in the class. Even Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was given this doubt that Krishna is seated in the heart of every living entity as Paramatma. So the sanction has to come from Krishna only. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur brings this point that once Krishna gives his Kripa Shakti to his devotees, Krishna himself becomes subservient, and then the will of Bhakta supersedes the will of Krishna. So then Krishna also cannot intervene. Just like in the case of Ambrish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni went up to Vishnu Lok, right? He begged, but he says, I cannot do anything. You have to go back to my devotee Ambrish Maharaj. If he wants and if he forgives, I'm okay to it. I'm subservient to his wish. Aham bhakta paradhina, he says. I'm totally dependent on the will of Krishna, on the will of my devotee.
Okay.
Though he is Parad, though he is independent, but still he is Bhakta Ashrita.
Haribol, I understood, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Mataji, follow-up
Thank you.
question. Then what makes the jiva to take or not take bhakti? Is it just his free will, or what is it? Is it some?
It's just the free will. It's just the free will of a jiva who wants to take that bhakti or not. Mahaprabhu's Nirankusha bhakti was spread all over, but still there were people who were saying that no, Mahaprabhu is some kind of madman. He is not the real bhakta, because their free will, or maybe their prarabdhs or aprarabdhs were so much bad that they can't even reciprocate to the bhakti that was freely given without any consideration. It was given, but still there were people in Navadvip itself who saw Mahaprabhu face to face but were not ready to accept Mahaprabhu's magnanimous nature.
One more follow-up question, Mataji. So you spoke about multiple births, right? Like, so we have been carrying this karma over many births. So when I say I have received Satam Kripa, I could have received it many births back.
Oh yes, you would have received in many births back.
And then I forget, and then again I start all over when I'm reminded.
Reminded again and again, but swalpamapi dharmasya, but where you stop, you start from there in the next life. You don't lose it. You don't lose it.
Very nice, very interesting, Mataji. Thank you so much. You got muted again, sorry. I don't know why, but there are so many questions, so I'll let you go.
Okay. Hare Krishna Mataji. I was feeling that I am in Vaikuntha Lok, and we are witnessing Kirtida Mataji and Preeti Vilasini Mataji's argument on bhakti. What they are talking was really to the extreme that it's like double PhD, double or triple PhD. It is like that, this Madhurya Kadambini. And it's really very difficult, like an LKG student for me to understand. So, but really it was very wonderful, Mataji. So the whatever Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the elaboration of that is given in Madhurya Kadambini. That's what I understood, my little mind. So, thank you so much.
Bhagavad Gita. Madhurya Kadambini, actually, it's just the transitions of different phases of path of bhakti from Shraddha to Prema. That is what it is. But in the very first shower, he brings up this point, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur brings up this point that what is Uttama Bhakti, what is Bhakti, what is the cause of Bhakti, so that you don't put forward any causes to bhakti and then claim, oh, because of this, I do not have that Shraddha, because of which I cannot do sadhu sangha or bhajan kriya and cannot reach to that prema level. So right from in the beginning, he is condemning this point that if you have any thought of cause, then just eradicate it. Because there is no cause of bhakti. Anyone, even the Chandalas, Malechas, and Harinam Chintamani, it is being described by Haridas Thakur that anybody can be bestowed with this bhakti by a particular bhakta. So don't bring any cause to it. Because if you are not bringing that cause, and if this point is 100% clear that there is no cause of bhakti, then you can proceed. Okay, now I should have some shraddha. Now I can have some sadhu sangha. Now anartha nivritti will happen. So in the very first chapter, in the very first shower, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wants to bring this point. Just like our Vyasadev, he brings up this point in the Mangalacharan of Srimad Bhagavatam. That he says that Nirmatsaranam Satam, this Srimad Bhagavatam, you are taking this Bhagavatam, you are studying this Bhagavatam, but in the Mangalacharan verse only he brings up this point that if you are Matsaranam, if you have that envious nature, this Srimad Bhagavatam will not be revealed to you. So to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, he gives this Mangalacharan, that is Vastu Nirdesh. We did it in our very first session, that you have to be Nirmat Saranam Satam to understand this Srimad Bhagavatam. The very cause, the very eligibility that is needed. Similarly, if we want to progress from Shraddha to Prema, we have to understand that there is no cause of bhakti. It is causeless, and bhakti only gives bhakti. So I cannot make any so-called excuses that I don't have this, so I cannot possess bhakti. Bhakti comes at its own pretext, it's self-illuminating, it is self-manifesting. And so if we have that bhakti, now let's start working on it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji. So, so one thing is, you said that because we put many causes for getting bhakti or not getting bhakti, but I feel that if we do some aparadh, like Vaishnava aparadh, so because of that, maybe we can keep that cause, that because of that, the bhakti, we can go somewhere down in bhakti.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That will come in the 4th section when we will discuss Anartha Nivritti. Bhakti will still be there. By committing aparadh, we are frying that seed of bhakti. And once the seed is fried, it will not sprout. Okay? Bhakti is pure, as I said. That seed of pure bhakti is sown. But now, by doing aparadhas, by committing aparadhas, by doing offenses, what we are doing? We are frying that seed. So when the fried seed is there, then no matter how much you give water, no matter how much you give sunlight, that seed will not fructify. This is science. Okay.
But maybe somewhere we will be still continuing to do our service. Maybe by knowing or unknowingly, we must have done some aparadh to someone. So, but we will be doing continuing our service. So, what is in that case, Mataji? So, in that case, also, do we have that some amount of bhakti which will be stick to us?
Of course, it will. Even if we are doing aparadhas, still some amount of bhakti will be there with us if we have already received that seed of devotion. If we have received that seed of devotion and we are doing aparadhas, then that seed of devotion, though it will not fructify in this lifetime, but it will be in the next lifetime.
Okay.
Okay. It may take time, it may take ages, it may take lifetimes. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Parima Mataji is there.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
It was fantastic, but a little difficult, very profound subject, Mataji. Mataji, I have this thing that we as Kanishta, not even Kanishta, we can give bhakti, but Mataji, isn't preaching different from giving initiation or giving that seed of bhakti?
Giving initiation is not bhakti.
Okay. Then, I mean,
not bhakti.
Can you please clarify?
To whom you make progress so that they can understand their sambandha gyan, they can understand their relationship with Krishna. It cannot happen after initiation also in many. It cannot happen. So just giving initiation is not. Bhakti is just bringing anyone closer to the Supreme Lord by any means. That is what is bhakti.
So if we go and preach and bring somebody to Krishna consciousness, means we have given them bhakti?
Yeah, to our capability, yes, we have sown a seed.
Because that person is definitely the person whom we have brought him or her to Krishna consciousness is not a bhakta yet. That person
is not a bhakta yet. He has to work on it.
Okay.
He has to work on it. How? By having Shraddha, by having Sadhu Sangha, by doing Bhajana Kriya, by eliminating all the anartha in the heart. Will become a bhakta later. Right now, we have to work on it.
Yeah. Okay, Mataji.
But
And
to our capability, whatever we know, we can share.
Okay. Okay, Mataji. And bhakti can be in 3 modes also, Mataji, like in sattva, in rajas, and in tamas. I'm like, bhakti is usually something very pure and nirgun. So
Yeah.
it can be done on the level of sattva, rajas, and tamas.
Yes, why not? Yesterday only in Uddhav Gita we were reading. I can share if you want, or I.
Mataji, please share or share on the group if whatever. I would want to have that, thing clarified. So if you
Even
can
four
share on the group.
examples are like that, right? Dhruva in Rajas and then.
Yeah, but Mataji, they eventually ascended to pure bhakti, right?
Yeah, that is different. But in starting, it can be in Rajas and in Tamas.
It can be there in rajas.
Krishna says, Indu Lekha Mataji, you are there? She was there yesterday. She's not here.
She just left, Mataji.
And Srimad Bhagavatam only we were reading that if somebody worships Krishna with not desiring any of the results of their actions, then it is bhakti in mode of goodness.
Okay.
But if somebody does it with the desire of having some moksha or bhukti, mukti kami, then it can be in the mode of passion like Dhruva Maharaj. But if somebody does perform worship and they want to create violence for others, and if they want others to be in a degraded position or to blaspheme others, they worship, then it is in the tamas.
But Mataji, that thing is not called bhakti at all, right?
That is not called bhakti, that's just a worship, that's what I'm saying. But what Dhruva Maharaj was doing, so Dhruva Maharaj, when he was doing, he was performing all the limbs of bhakti he was doing as per he was being told by his spiritual master Narad Muni. But internally, it was in the platform of rajas.
Yeah, that's true.
Something. Hiranyakashipu, though he was not doing bhakti because he was not calling on to the Supreme Lord Brahma, but his nature was to become immortal. So if somebody is worshipping like this to Krishna, that I want to become immortal or I want to rule over, this is all what? Ignorance.
Okay. Yes.
Yes,
Mataji.
He said in Uddhav Gita.
Yes, but Krishna never grants that usually, right? Sorry for continuing this. Krishna usually doesn't grant such boons like Brahma does.
Because Krishna says that in spite of doing all this, if you are asking for this benefits, then it's just like Vishakhaya. You are eating poison. So Krishna will not grant it for sure.
But it is still bhakti in the mode of ignorance, right?
In the mode of ignorance.
And then where does that bhakti lead to eventually? Ignorance, passion, and goodness.
Hell.
What?
Leads to hell. It also says the same of the it is being mentioned. That when it is done in tamas, it leads to hell. When it is done in rajas, it leads to our planetary systems only roaming around. And when it is done in the mood of sattva, it leads to liberation or going to higher planetary system. But when it is done exclusively for Krishna's pleasure, then it leads to Krishna's abode.
Okay. Mataji, please share that thing now in the group, if possible. That Uddhav Gita.
Yeah, you can read. It's chapter number 25, I think so. 11th canto, chapter 25.
Okay.
Just read the translation.
Okay. It's there in on our Bhakti Sangha group, then I will, refer to it.
No. Just read the translations of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay. Chapter 11, canto. Which canto?
Canto 11, chapter 25, the modes of material nature.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much for your wonderful service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Manjari Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. I just wanted to say such a wonderful class. You gave so many details and it was very profoundly done and it's not just it was very scrutinizingly like provided with the different points of views and the details. So I just loved it. It literally like, I was like in some transcendental world or something, it felt like. And then, I just loved how you said, that Krishna wanted to understand the feelings himself. So that's why he didn't even liberate Yamala trees until he was bound, so that he understood how it felt to be bound. So then he liberated them. And then how, related with the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he did the same to understand the heart of Srimati Radharani. So, and also Krishna can give anything material very easily, but because he would be subservient, he becomes subservient to his devotees, he doesn't easily give out his mercy, so that, and kripa. So that is very, it was very important to reiterate that point. And then my question, this is it's a very, very, I don't know, it may be common question, but for my mind, I'm not really understanding this properly. So I just wanted to ask and clarify. You said that, I was aware of like the mixed devotion and the pure devotion, or we can say, the motivated, uninterrupted bhakti versus Shuddha Bhakti, and then the three modes of bhaktis. That all was there, but then you came up with these two different definitions of Jnana Bhuta Satviki Bhakti versus Premanga Bhuta Nirguna Bhakti. So I wanted to understand, can I take it as this Jnana Bhuta Satviki Bhakti is similar to the mixed devotion, and the Premanga Bhuta Nirguna Bhakti is similar to pure devotion? Is that okay?
One is mixed.
I didn't know if I was mixing two different things, or
one is mixed and one is pure.
Okay. So I just didn't know these terminology then. So thank you so much for giving me this additional way to look at the different bhakti. So really, really grateful to you. I hope I wish I can attend more of the classes at this time, but unfortunately with my schedule, it's very hard to attend these. And then sometimes I hear offline, but I really want to ask questions. So I'm very grateful to you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for your interest. I don't know whether I'm making sense, but even I'm studying with all of you. So, yes, Preeti Vilasni Mataji, you have something to say?
Yes, Preeti Mataji is having some questions.
Yeah, Mataji. So coming back to this, bhakti is pure, it is being bestowed. But then it depends on the person whether it is going to be Gunatmika Bhakti or Nirguna Bhakti, right? It depends on his filters, on the person's filters, whether it will be like a bhakti with motivation of jnana and karma, or it will be a Shuddha Bhakti. One of these two, it depends on the filter of that person, correct? That understanding is correct. Okay. So then one more doubt, wait. So that means if I'm randomly, I'm below Kanishta Adhikari, but I go on a book distribution and I randomly give a book, and there is no guarantee that that person is, though that bhakti is pure, bhakti itself is pure, but there is no guarantee that that person he can either take mixed bhakti or he can take pure bhakti. Yes. Now, one more thing I wanted to ask. So what is it that makes that person take or not take? Again, that will be some sort of a causeless mercy in terms of if he's done some sukriti, right? Bhakti Unmukha Sukriti, we talk about sukriti. Some sort of sukriti is the thing that actually leads him to accept or reject. Is that understanding also correct?
Yes.
Oh. Okay, then we have completed a full cycle. Okay, Mataji, just
Sorry. Mataji, Preeti Mataji, I have a question for you. What rank you took in your schooling and colleges, Mataji? You seem to be an outstanding student.
So always much. Outstanding.
I would agree. I would agree too.
Very in depth of knowledge and very in depth of understanding and questioning also. Thank you so much, Mataji, actually for that. Because on behalf of you, on behalf of us, you're asking all these things. Because I'm saying for myself, I don't have that much knowledge to ask so many questions. But when you ask, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, this is there. So thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Sindhu Mataji.
Very intelligent.
Yes, Mataji.
You know the truth.
Yeah, Sindhu Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Sorry Mataji, I couldn't attend all your class. I'll look it up on the online. But I had one question. Maybe I'm totally out of place when I asked this question, but it just came to me when you made that statement. From bhakti, bhakti comes. That's what you said, right?
Bhakti is the
Where
cause.
bhakti is the cause of bhakti. So where does a sadhaka's endeavors towards bhakti come?
When that bhakti is sown, then you have to work on it.
Okay.
Where the endeavor of the sadhaka comes.
Okay. So even that endeavor in the beginning, it is
Covered
not
in the
pure.
in the second class, I think so, we covered this. Then somebody asked Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that if bhakti is the cause of bhakti, then what is the use of our own sadhana, our own endeavor? What is the use of it? Bhakti is self-manifesting, it will come automatically. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur establishes this point that your sadhana is making your heart fertile so that this is sown in that seed of bhakti is sown. So your sadhana is your endeavor that you are making. First, making your heart fertile when the seed is sown, and then your endeavor is to make that seed sprout in the form of a plant, creeper, and then a tree.
Okay. Okay. Just another follow-up. Thank you, Mataji. That makes sense. But sometimes that endeavor also is mixed, right? I mean, it is not pure in the sense that consciously I don't do it. Sometimes it is just Vaidi Bhakti. I just do it because I'm supposed to get up. I'm supposed to chant. I'm supposed to do boga. Not all the time, but sometimes it is pure. It comes from the heart. It is so true. But sometimes it is just a formality. It becomes like that, right? So
Yeah.
even that is the path. Even that is an endeavor.
Yeah, that is also an endeavor. Even if you are doing it for force, initially we all do it by force. That is what is Bhakti, by following all the rules and regulations.
Okay.
That's what it is. But eventually it will come into Aganuga Bhakti when you do it with spontaneous love.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. I appreciate all the help. Very beautiful. I listened to it offline, and it's so overwhelming. It takes 1 hour or 2 hours to digest and come out of it sometimes. Very beautiful. Thank you so much, Mataji.
This subject matter is easy, even for not easy.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Even myself also, first 2 classes, I was so inattentive. But today I sat and I'm listening. I'm thinking I should go back and listen to all the other classes also. So it's really very in-depth of the meaning of bhakti, what it is given here. So it's actually needed to understand for us in this stage, in this moment. And so thank you so much for bringing this topic actually for us. So thank you, Mataji, for today's class. And and I think no more hand raise or questions, Mataji. Do you have anything to say, Mataji?
No, Mataji, that's
Anything
it.
to continue about Bhakti?
No, now
So
we have
it's really very interesting
now
also.
we have established that Bhakti is the cause of Bhakti. So now we will
Yes.
not further argue in this point, because Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has taken up all the arguments and he's established it very firmly that Bhakti is the cause of Bhakti. So no more arguments on this. Now we will move on to working on it.
Working. Okay, working stage. So the 9 stages of Bhakti, in which stage? The first stage we are, Mataji?
Yeah, yet
You were
not
saying
the stage.
we have not. Oh, okay, fine.
Not yet come to Shraddha. We have just talked about.
Okay, so we are just putting the seeds. We are trying to put the seeds. It's like
now.
that?
Yes. By having Shraddha, by doing sadhu sangha, by doing bhajana kriya. Now
Thank you so much, Mataji. So with your permission, we can end the call here, Mataji. We'll meet next week. Thank you. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for joining the call, and thank you so much, Mataji, for coming on the call. And very nice class and very nice conversation also, like how it is happening in Vaikunta. I think we can meet in this Vaikunta of Bhakti Sangha next week. So we'll pay our obeisances to Mataji, dear devotees. Vancha kalpatripashe kripa sindhu vacha
Vachapatidanam Pavane
Vaishnava
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Anantakoti
Jai
Vaishnava.
Jai Srila Prabhupada
Jai.
Hare
Jai.
Krishna
Thank you
Ki
for
Jai.
Jai. Thank you so much, Mataji.